Time for a little everyday carry update. Now, I have been someone who carries a fixed blade knife nearly every day for about a little over a year now. The only times I don't is when I'm testing new products. And today I want to show you some of the things I've been carrying lately, along with why I carry a fixed blade over, say, a folding knife. So with that, let's get started. Now, in my last EDC update, I showcased this knife, which is something I've been carrying quite a bit, designed by David C. Anderson. So this is their Nasmuk variation. I can never remember the name, but Magnacut blade steel, super useful, and I absolutely love it. So I carry a fixed blade because it does everything a folding knife can do, plus is also really convenient to use when you're talking about food-related tasks. So a lot of times when people carry a folding knife, they're using it for utility, meaning that they might be opening boxes, cutting open harder surfaces, and so on and so forth. Things that don't involve dirt and grime that can get inside that folding knife, making it much more annoying. And of course, you have to take the knife apart and potentially have to reassemble it. That's not the case with a fixed blade knife. And I use a fixed blade instead of a kitchen knife all the time. Not just to test it, but to prove my point to myself that this is something I can use for literally everything. The other reason I carry a fixed blade knife almost exclusively is it's an excellent complement to a multi-tool if I'm going fully equipped. And it is also just something I won't fidget with. So I tend to stay more focused because folding knives these days are very fidget friendly. And because of that, I tend to take them out when I shouldn't to play with them like they are toys. And I don't find myself doing that with a fixed blade knife. It's a tool and it stays a tool and I use it all the time. Okay, so I used this for a while actually, but I got this knife from Axial and I wanted to spend some time with it, but I wasn't gonna get around to this video for a little while. So I started carrying the AK1 from Daily Customs. Now this is made in Germany. It is M390 blade steel, I believe. This is the micarta with micarta inlays. Very comfortable, very slicey, very easy to use. So I've been carrying this for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was reminded just how much I love this sheath and knife combo. It's just a really comfortable user and no real qualms there. And there's a reason I picked this out of my collection to carry, because when I received the Axial, I pulled it out and I was looking at the handles, and the handles, they're not the same, but they are similar enough angularly that I wanted to see if there was any crossover, because I really like this handle. And unsurprisingly, I really like the knife handle from the Axial knife. So this is a made in America knife. It's one of their first fixed blades. I think it might be their first fixed blade. There are 3 different variations: a drop point, a Wharncliffe, and then this Tango. So Tango is a very interesting blade shape because in theory, it might be one of the most versatile. The only downside being that it's a little bit more difficult to sharpen. But if you're using a Magnacut blade steel, which you're not going to need to sharpen very often in the first place, it really becomes less of an issue. Also, what I found when using Tango knives is that I tend to have to sharpen from this area to here the most, and then the rest of it stays pretty pristine. I tend to use this edge as if it's like the leading edge of a Wharncliffe knife blade. But the ability to then rotate it and tilt up and use the tip of the knife, well, that comes in handy for different purposes. It also is a little bit structurally stronger at the tip. So even though you have a thin knife, you have a very strong one at the same time. So it's a nice hybrid combo. This is a very tall full flat grind, and I'm actually really excited to carry this and see how a Tango performs over time. So that's really exciting. So I really like that. I specifically picked the Tango because it's sort of an uncomfortable shape for me. It's not something I carry. I tend to prefer a drop point, but this is just a really good test, and they've done a great job with this. So a nice proper plunge here on the sharpening choil as well, just done really nicely. Plenty of space for additional sharpening really comfortable G10 handle scales with screw-on construction. It comes with a titanium lanyard bead. I attached a little bit of the paracord that was included. I did have to, one issue I will say is they made it such that they cinched off the ends of the paracord, but it was too hard and wide to go through the hole, so I had to cut it again, then melt it in a nice shape that could go through. But that was a minor thing, not a big deal. But it does come with everything you need to make this little lanyard, which I liked. Now, I think when it comes to carrying a fixed blade every day, the make or break is always in the sheath. And thankfully, they have nailed this correctly. So there is a nice area covering the handle. So even though it might be mostly buried in your pocket, there's a nice guide for the blade to go into. It also comes standard with an ulti-clip, which is fantastic. So once again, the right type of carrying mechanism for a knife like this one. And still, because it's a taco, you can use it across the body, right in front of your belt buckle. You can do that as well with like a little fold over leather straps. You can also do it scout carry, and you can do it as a neck knife because they have put 2 holes perfectly positioned for stability. So they have done a very good job with the design of the sheath and also the spacing of the holes and just about everything else. So nice job on that front, good retention, no issues whatsoever. Sorry, let me close that so you can hear the action. That's mostly just the bead. There's only a very small amount of play and none up and down, which is the one that actually matters. So excellent job done on this Kydex sheath. I'll be carrying this for a while just to see how it goes. This is the thing I'm going to turn back to every time I'm not reviewing something else. I'm probably going to carry it whenever I am using my holster, which has my custom Surge Super Tool 300 hybrid, my new this is my new favorite daily flashlight, the E80 from Rovi Vaughn, and then of course my multi-pen, which I really like to carry. And I will swap out this with also a screwdriver that fits in that spot from time to time. But this is when I have my full setup. Otherwise, I tend to skip the fixed blade entirely and the holster and carry only a flashlight plus a multi-tool instead of a folding knife, such as the Swiss Tool MX clip. That's an example of multi-tools that I will carry. That's my mid-range, carry a little bit less setup. And then of course, ultra minimalist, I might only carry my keys, wallet, and a fixed blade, which is a little bit on the strange side, but that has worked very well for me as well. So I might carry this, might carry my keys as well, and then just my wallet, right? Just my wallet, and call it a day. That's my ultra minimalist variation. So this is my first show of the Axial knife, and I will probably end up doing a follow-up at some point to let you know how this goes, probably in my next EDC update where I talk about my experience with things I've been carrying. So that's pretty much it for today. As always, thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk again soon.